All right, so the recording had started for those that join in and listen in on that. So, like I said, the lectures, the assignments, they all link together, and those coincide with the reading that goes along with each week. Now, some people not paying attention to what is in uh, the actual course. You're just going through and just kind of not paying attention to what is on the screen. Now, these are college level courses. You're expected to be paying attention. These are your careers. This is not just, oh, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Everything has to be pointed out to me. There is a level of uh, responsibility and uh, level of skill to go along with these things. You haven't been just being passed along and you get a grade for pay. You are expected to be able to do what you say you can do along with your certifications or your degree. So that includes your general education classes and this course. Okay. So you will need this course to complete those certifications and those degrees. And so there are things that you will need and things that will benefit your career. Trust me. Okay. I know we hear that a lot, and that sounds like a sales pitch, but been through a lot of these careers. I help companies find people and hire and interview. And I can tell you, there is a big difference in the way you handle your interview, the way you handle your resume, the way you handle yourself, and your level of pay, and your level of benefits, and where you can and cannot go, and how you will and will not move up in your career. So you can move along and stay at the same level just with a degree or certification. Or you can empower yourself and you can advance and take control because that is it. You don't have to accept what they tell you. You can be in the driver's seat and you can push your career. And that's what you need to do. You don't just have to say and take what they tell you. You can be in control of your career. So I'm going to do some sharing here. Now, one thing I do want to mention for those of you that may not be here, there was a Raptor uh, field trip today, sponsored in part by the campus. Angel, did you go on that? Did you participate in that? Raptors are a big part of the rehab that I do. They have a soft part in my heart. Some of the raptors that I work with are Sam, Liberty, and I always forget the third one, but Sam, Liberty, and Harmony are three bald eagles that I work with. Bald eagles are always on loan from the federal government. We do not own these eagles. I repeat, they are on loan. All three of them, unfortunately, came to us with gunshot wounds. All three have shotgun gunshot wounds. Uh, Sam is missing an entire wing because of the gunshot wound. And Liberty is missing an eye, and Harmony has other internal injuries. They cannot be released to the wild, so we take care of them and we release their offspring. We have three of them, only two can be on display at a time. We always have to rotate one off. Those are federal regulations. So, raptors of all kinds. I do eagles, hawks, falcons. Um, uh, kestrels, all birds of prey. I really was not fond when Harry Potter brought up so many people wanted owls. Everybody likes owls. Owls are mean. They are not those sweet little birds that people talked about. But anyway, so if you did the raptor thing, Angel, you should have got information from the instructor, and you can submit that information for your attendance tonight or what I give you tonight for the attendance, okay? So either one of those will suffice for your attendance tonight, okay? So I know what was given out for that. So that goes for any field trip sponsored by the school. We want to make sure you have the ability to participate. All right. So moving on, I'm going to do some screen sharing here. And so, and also, I hope y'all like the music when y'all come in. I hate when you connect to a session and it is just empty. So I try to have something there so you at least know you've connected to something. Okay, so I'm going to turn this into a student view here. So when you are going in, and of course, somebody last night was having difficulty finding recordings. I do try to send them out in a text message if I don't get to them. Right here, your recordings, click on that gray button down here where it says past recordings. Click there. You will find all the recordings. Just click on those. It takes you to YouTube and plays it for you. All right. So here we are in week 2, but you can go back to week 1. And one of the things you'll see at the top is a picture of your book. And right there, it tells you overview and readings. So the book chapters from week 1 were 1, 2, and 7. If you click on that, it will open that chapter up on screen and you can read through it. So those are the chapters there. Or you can actually click the download right next to it and it will download it to your machine. All right. So that's how you get those. Okay. And in week 2, if you go over here, click on your readings and you'll see we had 3 and 10. Okay. So those are the chapters. When you look on in week 2 under the assignments, if I look ahead on the midterm, don't go in and say take the quiz. You only get one chance at it, so don't think you can go in and kind of preview it because you won't be able to. If you go in and start it, that is your only chance at it. So please don't preview. But it says chapters 1, 2, 3, 7, and 10. So I do want to let you know I am going to go over it a little bit more tomorrow. But I sent an email out and a text telling you I sent the email out, and it included a PDF with a study guide. You can also find that study guide under the help here where it says midterm study guide. Click on the PDF here and it will open up and you will see the chapters and the information. Yes, there is a blue mark across it. You'll have to read through that. That's to keep you from being able to just cut and paste into the midterm, okay? And the other thing that you can do is if you close it, you can see a little down arrow next to it. You can download it to your machine if you prefer to do that. So I wanted to make sure you had all the information. This is information that came from the lectures and from the book. There could be additional questions that are not in the study guide. So do not be upset if it is not 100% there. Read the chapters, okay? You're expected to. That is part of having a college course is that there are reading assignments that go along with it. Elevator pitch. There's quite a few people who have not done this. I'm going to go back and take a look at it. This is the 30-second pitch to describe yourself. Okay, now the assignment talks about how to record the video, but you do not have to do it as a video. If you're camera shy, type it out. Click on Start Assignment. Go in here for text entry, type out your 30-second pitch to make me want more. Remember, this is 30 seconds. Okay. It's not a conversation back and forth. This is you telling me about you in 30 seconds that I need to want more. Okay. You're selling you to me. Okay. So, what is it about you that will make me want to hire you or know more about you that I'm going to say, I need to hear more? Okay. This is a common everyday thing. This is how you introduce yourself at trade shows, at conventions, to get people to know who you are. Okay. Now, has anybody started networking out there, going to conventions? Angel, you're in the vet world. Are you going to pet clinics, animal shows, things like that? Anybody out there networking outside of school? Yes. Okay. Let me tell you, your careers are small. Every career is small. Your name needs to get out there. I told you, you are your brand. People are going to find out about you before they meet you. And you need to make sure it's good. You need to start pitching your brand. They need to know who you are and about you before they meet you. When they hear Angel's name, or, and Angel, do you prefer to be called Angel or Angel? Most of my friends prefer Angel, so I'm not sure. Uh, Either way, when they hear that name, they need to know what you stand for. Do you do quality work? Are you efficient? Are you reckless and can put the team in jeopardy? They need to know your brand, what you stand for. And let me tell you, if you leave a company, chances are in your career field, when you go to the next company, they're going to ask people who work in that company, hey, have you heard of Angel? Have you heard of him? What kind of work does he do? Have you heard good things, bad things? Companies know each other. Their workers know each other. Your reputation, your brand is going to get to them before you do. When you walk into that interview, they're going to know about you. So you need to start working on this. You need to have your pitch ready. You need to have your brand and your brand statement. Your brand statement is going to go on your calling cards, your elevator pitch, tell me about yourself, can go on the top of that resume. This is how you introduce yourself. So if you haven't done it, get in there and work on that elevator pitch. Get that done. It has to be done by Sunday. Don't procrastinate. Let's get into ourselves and push ourselves. Okay. Worst interview ever. I have to tell you, some people, y'all have some doozies. Y'all are are just doing it out there and you are making it through. You have some good ones too. It's good to see people sharing. Don't forget, besides putting yours in there, that you are in there and commenting on somebody else's. I need you to comment at least on one other person. The assignment says two. I only require one other person. So your original post and one other. And that will get you the full 100 points. So make sure you do that. Okay, mock interview. If you haven't scheduled your mock interview, this is a big one at the campus. Schedule it. We want to make sure that you know how to interview properly. They're going to be checking, are you dressed properly? Did you bring your resume? Are you sitting upright? Are you not fidgeting? Are you speaking properly? Are you slouched? Are you not looking enthusiastic? Before you leave, did you ask questions? What's next? These are things that can make a difference between hired or not hired. It could make a difference between $15 an hour or $20 an hour for the same position doing the same work. In a 40-hour week, that could be the difference of $200 more per paycheck. Would you like to get paid $200 more for doing the same work? And the difference being is if you slouched during your interview. Think about that. All right. Wednesday, today. Okay. Those informational interviews, these are the people in your career. You named them last week. These are the people you wanted to talk to. Now you're going to come in here to this assignment and you're going to tell me what you found out. Okay? What did you learn about your field? What insight? I don't want you to just go out there to the internet and download a bunch of information about your field. This should be what you learned from the person you talk to, because they're in the field. They have the real information, the real deal. Because there's things about your job I'm guaranteeing you don't know. Ask. This is where you get the real dirt, the good and the bad, things you may not have realized. Okay? This is where experience from people in the field come into play. Things that we could tell you that you don't know. Like I can tell you over at Animal Kingdom, every department has to find its own financing. The primate division can go bankrupt and be out of Disney, while the reptile division has incredible financing, but they can't share their financing with primates. Did you know that? Each department is its own separate company. And it's the same way at SeaWorld, same way at Busch Garden, same way at Parrot Jungle Island, because by keeping them at separate entities, they can get federal funding separately. If you're in the animal business and you don't check and find these things out, you don't know. That's where experience comes in. So find out what about your career? What did you learn? What lessons learned and how will that change or not change your career plan? So find out information, come in here, click start assignment. Once you do that, you can either upload a file where you've already typed it in or click text entry and type it in there or paste it in there. Okay? So that's how you do that. This should be an interesting item for you because you get to talk to people in your field. And if you're dreading this, why? This is your field. You should be interested in it. You should want to talk to these people. Okay? Now, tomorrow, your resume, once you've met with Career Services and they've gone over your resume and had it signed, this is where you turn it in. Okay. Now, I've had a couple people already turn in your signed one. If you turned it in to me already signed, I will add this in here. Okay. So if you've already sent me your signed one, I will add this in here. I haven't done it yet, but I will. So if you've already sent it, I will add it in here. And then the midterm exam, of course, this weekend. Think about the midterm exam after Sunday. This does not get reopened or extended. You have no choice on the midterm exam. It does not get reopened or extended. You get one shot at the midterm. And I'll talk more about that tomorrow. Okay? Everybody good so far? Yes, yes? All right. Okay. So now let's finish up where we left off. And tomorrow's live session will probably not be as long because I'm going to do a little bit of review for the midterm. And then I want you to have plenty of time to be able to get into it. All right. You will still have an assignment that is due. Remember, those assignments are always due by 11:59. Right after midnight, your attendance is turned in. There is no next day turn in for attendance. We all have obligations and requirements, and attendance is required by 11:59. If you were in the ground class, that would have to be done by 10 p.m. So I actually give everybody an extension to 11:59. So I try to make it even more accommodating for everybody. All right. So here we go. And that's not where I wanted it to start. Let me go back here. I had it in the right place, but I did not start it from that. Here we go. Okay, let me get my color here. Draw my smiley face, make sure everything is working, and away we go. If you could only see what it takes to power this, 3 screens, an iPad, a touch pencil, and a lot of wires. All right. So, interview questions. Of course, you're going to have questions, and they're intended to assess your qualifications. Sometimes people think it's just to intimidate you, and it can be. It can be a very big power trip for the person who's doing it. And if it is, they shouldn't be doing the interviewing. And unfortunately, sometimes that happens. I had a boss who was a horrible person to have to go to interview with. She would get rid of people in the interview just because she didn't like the way the woman's shoes looked. And it didn't matter if they were qualified or not. So plan, prepare, and practice questions that you may think might come up. Some of them are, where do you plan to be in 5 years? What is your greatest weakness? Things like that. Those questions we hate. And the questions that you hate and that you answered on, I loved your responses. Some of the ones I want you to know I'm going to change the way I do interviewing. Okay. I learned from you as well as you learned from me. And that's the way it should all be. Don't be afraid to share your voice and express yourself because you add value to everything. Okay. I want you to know you add value. Your opinions matter and they count, and people do listen. And I listen to your reasoning behind some of the things. Questions like, why do you want to work here? Okay. That response that I heard, and I'm not going to say who the student was, but you made me stop and think. And I'm going to refocus on why and how I asked that and change those questions. Okay. Remain poised. You heard the phrase, don't let them see you sweat. It's true. Answer honestly, and you never have to go back on your word. Keep answers focused on the question. Don't ramble. Stick to the question. Too much information can lead you down a wrong path. And there's going to be 3 types of questions: general information, behavioral, and stress. All questions fall into this category. Your general information are going to be just getting the facts. Just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. And they're going to be about your education and work experience. And some of them are, what can you tell me about yourself? What jobs have you had? And it's okay to have gaps in your employment history. And this is the time to explain them. COVID was a very good example. Um, I couldn't get hired because places weren't hiring due to COVID. Okay. Um, what interests you most about this position? The opportunity to work for a Fortune 500 company and be able to grow within it. Or this is my opportunity to start a new welding career in a company that will allow me to grow. This particular veterinary company or facility has a great reputation, and I want to be a part of it. So think about why you truly want to work for them. Let them know. Besides the money, we know you need a job, we know you need income. So, besides that all important dollar, why? Let us know why. Okay. And are you comfortable using the technology? Think about that. Places want to know that you can use technology because they're going to have to, and some of the staff they have may not be so literate, and you may have to show them. Okay? Making sure I went on. Okay, now, besides, let's see here. Now, behavioral questions. Okay, now I want you to think about this. Behaviors are, do you behave well? That's not what they're talking about. Behavioral questions are questions that draw on your experience and your decisions. Now, some of these can be a little bit tricky when they ask, and they may be using them to see how you're going to handle current situations. Okay, and how you're going to use certain skills. Okay. So they may ask you things about a particular task you've done and a skill that you used. Okay. An example, describe a time when you missed the opportunity to provide the best service to a customer. Okay. I can tell you this. This was a real world example in a veterinary clinic that I worked at. I was helping a customer choose a prescription food in our retail area of the vet clinic. At the time, another customer came in and I was already helping this one. Why I was focused on this one, what I should have done was taken a second and said, I will be right with you as soon as I'm finished with this client. I was so focused on the client and getting the proper prescribed food that I ignored the other client. Okay, so that's a missed opportunity. Just with taking a few seconds, that client could have been told that they were going to be taken care of. So that was a mistake on my part. I see that and I can remedy that. So that's a good example. Okay, another example here would be just describe a situation which you needed to be creative in order to help a customer with the problem. Okay, so this comes about all the time where you need a solution and you don't have an out of the box solution. This will come out a lot in HVAC. It will come out a lot in electrical, where a client has a unique situation and you are going to have to come up with a way to solve it with with a variety of different connections that is non-standard. So you don't have a one size fits all solution. Now, everybody's favorite, stress. And stress questions are exactly that. They're going to make you stress out. That's the purpose. They want to know how you're going to handle it. And so they're going to use these to see if they can stress you out of it. They're going to see if they're going to make you sweat. Okay. And then take your time with them. Don't try to answer immediately. Think it through. Okay. And while you're doing it, some of the things that you can say is, that's a great question. I hadn't considered that angle. And so while you're using this to come up with, so some of them are, where do you want to be in 5 years? That's a great question. I hadn't thought of it completely through. I know I would like to move from the position that you're looking to hire me for and move up in your company. So, what you're telling them is you are going to hire me for this position and you're going to advance me. So, I just took your question and I told you what you're going to do for me. Did everybody see that? Was everybody listening? So, I took a difficult question and I turned it on them. I just told you, you're hiring me. This is how I'm starting, and you're going to advance me for the next 5 years. This is empowerment, okay? Make them think they've hired you. What you're doing is you're approving them as a work location. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? They're not hiring you, you're approving them as your work location. When you start to see the difference, you can start to see how you're growing. You're not as reliant on them as they are on you. It's your privilege to have me work there. Isn't that fun? Kind of sounds arrogant, but remember, you have skills. They have an opening. They need you. You want the job, but they need you. Now, do you see why you have the upper hand? Yes? Yeah, they're going to hire somebody, but they need you. That's why you're there. They pulled you, they brought you in, they want you. Okay? So now let's move to illegal questions. There's things they can't ask you. They can't ask you your age, your disability, your national origin, your gender, your family status, your religion. If they ask you those, you can decline to answer. Now, reality, you might not get the job. So how do they get around age? They ask you things like, when did you graduate? That's how they work backwards towards your age. Your disabilities. Will you be able to lift this? Can you do this? Will you be able to pass a vision test? This is how they find things out. So they get around some of these illegal questions, you know, gender, watch which bathrooms you go into, etc. Marital or family status. Okay, here's an insider secret. Working with people who do hiring, at the end of your interview, let me walk you out to your car. Okay? Has anybody had this happen? Let me walk you out to your car after an interview. Has anybody encountered this? No? It's a trick. Let me tell you why. They want to see a couple of things. Number one, do you have dependable transportation? Number two, they're checking your car for car seats. People who have car seats tend to have children. Children tend to cause people to miss work. Be careful, okay? They cannot discriminate based on that, but it's something they do. Another thing they'll do is they will have a, my drawing's not so good here. Forgive me, I'm not a good artist. A picture frame on their desk with children in it. And you go, oh, you have children too. Bingo. Now they know you have kids. Kids are not a reason to not get a job, but sometimes it can be a reason for them not to hire you. So please beware. Don't add information you don't need to add, and don't give them a reason to not consider you. So sometimes things can get in a way. Family status can be one of them, even though it is illegal. Okay? And so now, every interview, please find a way to ask a question back. If they say, or do you have any questions? Please ask questions. What are the specific duties that I'm going to do in my new position? Notice you're in a very discreet way talking about your position. You're implying that you will get this. Who would I report to? What is the company policy for promotions? Okay. And so these are different things that you can ask. Do not ask about salary, okay, and benefits. Those are things you stay away from. Promotions is not asking about salary. Okay. So the other thing is right here, it's very important. This will be on the test, a signal phrase. A signal phrase adds to the question. And so it makes them notice that you were actually listening to them. You mentioned that this position would report to blah, blah, blah. You mentioned that, boom, boom, boom. You referred to this division being under blah, blah, blah. How many divisions are there? Would this position allow me to transfer to other divisions as I grew, etc.? I noted that you said so. Signal positions is a way of signaling that you heard what was said and want further information. Okay. So once everything's been done, all questions were answered, no questions to ask about, then you can ask a question about the hiring process. Okay. So after everything else is done, then you ask about that. And most importantly, what is the next step? Don't ask them how many people you're going to interview. What is the next step? And when might I expect to hear from you? Okay. Those are what you ask. What is the next step? And when might I hear from you? Okay. And prepare yourself. It says practice in front of a mirror. Use your phone, record yourself. Ask people to ask you. Have mock interviews. You're doing one with career services. Take it serious. This is how you find out how well you do an interview. Okay? Make sure you take these things serious and act like it is the real deal. Night before your interview, make sure you have your outfit ready. Make sure you have everything you need, all your resumes, pens, papers, know where you're going, etc. Make sure you know that route for construction sites, everything. Prepare your breakfast before you go to bed. Know what you're going to have. If you're going to have something, some people skip it. Make sure you're well rested. Don't look like you've been out the night before. We all know that look. They will know it too. All right. Now, we've been all over a lot of things tonight. So I want to know, you were listening, you saw the lecture, 3 things you learned in class today. That's what I want you to send me. All right? Think about it. Today, what did you learn? Okay? Send me that information. All right? So that is our midweek lecture. Get my cursor back here. And tomorrow we'll have our review on the midterm. In the meantime, you can take a look at that document that I sent y'all, see how that's going. Take some time, do some catch up on anything that is missed. If you have anything from week 1, Sunday is the last possible day that those week 1 assignments will be able to be worked on. If you need something open from week 1, let me know. Those have to be open manually. So please reach out to me through email on that. All right. And that's it for tonight. Y'all have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock.